Well, there's no way I can get through every aspect of this gospel reading. It's got so much going on. If you want a really good, beautiful, succinct reading of this gospel reading, read Henry Nouwen's Return of the Prodigal Son. Fantastic. I haven't even finished yet, but I can already guarantee that it's just that good. And in that book, he focuses on the three major figures of this parable. I mean, he reflects on this painting and on this parable for 150 pages. It's kind of amazing, but he focuses on the younger son, the older son, and the father. And it's interesting to me that in this gospel reading, you spend 75 to 80% of this reading talking about the younger son and what he did and how he went away and came back and all these things, which I think any of us who dare to darken the doors of a church would say we have a little bit of the prodigal son in us, that we have tried our way out in the world and we've found ourselves longing to eat what we had in the Father's house. We've been eating on pigs and whatever else, but we want what the Father has because with the Father everything is better. So I think there's a little bit of the younger son in all of us. But it's interesting because Jesus doesn't address this parable to the tax collectors and sinners that he's hanging out with. It says, the Pharisees and scribes begin to complain, saying, this man welcomes sinners and eats with them. So to them, Jesus addresses this parable, to the scribes and the Pharisees. Interesting. I would say ultimately Jesus is trying to tell the scribes and Pharisees, look, you're acting like the older brother. And what are the ways in my life that I've acted like the older brother? I am a priest, right? And I keep joking around with it a lot lately, but basically, I have no money, no honey, and I have a lot of work. And so why can't we sell this stuff to other people? Why doesn't nobody else want to be a priest? But at the same time, what can happen in my own heart, or in any of our hearts for that matter, when we start working for the church or for God, we can start to get a little bit resentful. We can start to say, oh man, nobody's noticing all the good work I'm doing. Look at all the long hours I'm putting forth. And we start to become bitter, and that's probably, I would argue, the hands down number one reason why a lot of people don't like organized religion. Because the people who are in charge are these bitter, bitter souls. Because they don't get the fattened calf just like all the other sinners do. Isn't it interesting here, though? Listen to what the older son says to his father. Look, all these years I served you, and not once did I disobey your orders. That's where the resentment starts to settle in. That, look, I have made myself a slave and I am obeying you, and so I should get something in return. If that's what's in your heart whenever you think about coming to pray or service in the church, then I don't need you. I shouldn't even be here if that's my attitude. It's so deadly, it's so toxic. And if you notice that rising up in your heart whenever you're doing service in the church, then find a retreat. Get away from the things that you're surrounding yourself in and refocus. Because this has to be a relationship. This isn't a job that we do, this whole religion thing. If I feel resentful that, oh my gosh, I have to go pray and be in a holy hour or whatever else, it's not worth it. It's just not. We have to refocus and reprioritize. I'm here in my Father's house by choice. Nobody is making me be here. Out of the goodness of that I know that the Father has bestowed on me, that's why I want to be here. We're at the halfway point in Lent right now. That's why I get to wear rose today, not just because I look great. But the other part of that is, we're at the halfway point. Think again about the Lenten promises, the Lenten resolutions that you took up at the beginning of this season. Where are you with those? Are you resenting those now? Are you saying, geez, this Lent season never ends and I'm tired of fasting and almsgiving and whatever else? If that's where your heart is, then take a little bit of time, brothers and sisters. Because the Lord loves a cheerful giver. He doesn't want our resentments. He just wants us. So friends, where you sense bitterness in your heart, I invite you to take that to prayer. Because otherwise we'll just become more scribes and Pharisees, and why would anybody want to be part of that? The Father has a lot to bestow on us, simply because he loves us, not because of anything that we can do for him.